we have an eminent professor today. It's my pleasure and privilege to introduce him. Dr. Binu James Mathew is an assistant professor of business communication at College of Banking and Financial Studies, Muscat, Oman. He has over 25 years of teaching and research experience. He's also a certified corporate trainer. He holds a PhD from India's premier institute, IIT Bombay, and possesses a triple master's degree, MA, MPhil, and MBA. He has a certified teacher qualification from Cambridge University, UK. While working in Mumbai University, Dr. Mathew also served as sub-lieutenant at the Indian Naval Unit. He has published many articles and presented papers at international conferences. He is passionate about music and presentation, and he has a YouTube channel also. We proudly welcome Dr. Binu James Mathew to this session. Please welcome, big round of applause.
Thank you, DTM Srikumar Pai. It has been a privilege of attending this session, being a part of it. And let me share the screen. I believe we can see the screen right now.
We can see. Proceed.
Right. All right, so one thing which we look at it as today is the right attitude. It's a key ingredient for personal success. I wish to also acknowledge this opportunity given by Gavel Club, which is a part of Toastmasters International. And it was been a privilege for me to share my few thoughts on this topic to enthusiastic young generation. All right, so what you can see now is the image that is clearly mentioned here is joy is what they hold, but look at their emotions expressed. Sometimes we don't realize what the benefits we have. 2020 was a challenging year for every one of us. However, it also taught us the importance of being together as a family. It also taught us challenges that can come at any moment of life, unexpectedly, without any warning. So no matter how the situation is, leading to a successful destination is purely our choice. Let's look at, first of all, what is attitude? Attitude is a predisposition or a tendency to respond positively or negatively towards a certain idea, object, person, situation, etc. So it's basically a choice that we make. And right attitude, from the management point of view or from the psychologist's point of view, is an important soft skill that everyone should possess if they look for life success. Either it is personal success in your homes or at your work or in your school, the right attitude is a key ingredient. Right, so let's look at what is a soft skill, what is a hard skill, and what is a soft skill. Now, when I said about soft skills, I'm sure some of you will think, what is a soft skill? So let me try to distinguish between hard skills and soft skills. Hard skills are the subjects that you study in your school, the most important subjects like science, math, calculating, the grammar of a language. These are the hard skills. You gain this knowledge from practice or your aptitude or by training yourself into that. However, soft skills are intangible. It is not visible how the soft skills are there, but everybody around us will feel the presence of our own soft skill because it's a part of emotional quotient. It's a desirable quality for any job, for any part of the task that you do, and it does not depend on the acquired knowledge. but they include sometimes common sense, which is very uncommon sometimes, and the ability to deal with people and a positive and flexible attitude. So I hope you understand what is soft skills now. It is something that we all carry. We don't realize it perhaps, but others know what kind of a person we are. Now, right attitude is an important soft skills because companies are recruiting to rate the employees' interpersonal skills or people skills, which are more important than their analytical abilities. And they often say that the hard skills will get you to an interview, but the soft skills will definitely skills are needed to get the job and keep the job and in progress in their career. Now, this image, I believe, is self-explanatory. You can see that the person who wins first prize and the person who wins third prize, both of them are there, but look at their faces. Look at the way in which they display what they have. In fact, science shows that, studies shows that silver medalists are on an average less happy or less happier than bronze medalists. Now, why is it they are less happy than bronze medalists? Because happiness is a state of mind. A silver medalist will always feel at a loss that they have not achieved the first prize. Whereas the one who won the third prize, the bronze medalist, has always been grateful. He's always been grateful that he didn't go to the fourth position. He at least got the bronze. So it's purely an attitude which is being displayed here. Now, when you talk about attitude, we can't escape mentioning Daniel Goleman, who is said to be the father of emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence speaks about self-awareness, self-control, empathy, and social skills, which are extremely important for any person's personal success. Now, let's look at what is a self-awareness. Self-awareness is to know your emotions and identify the reasons why this is happening to us. Recognize the feelings that affect my performance. So these are the self-awareness, to know your strength, know your weaknesses, and act accordingly in personal life. We know our strength and the weakness by ourselves. Self-awareness is that you're aware of your learning experience, you're open to receive feedback, your new perspective, your self-development, everything depends upon knowing oneself. It's an introspection or know oneself. Self-control, okay, on a different realm, speaks about the self-confidence and the ability to control our emotions, especially anger sometimes. So here you can see the image as it shows, the self-control is in action. Although the heart has something to do, you can see the brain takes control of that emotions at this particular moment. Empathy is a third part of emotional skill, which speaks about sensing what others feel without their saying. When you look at a person, you try to understand the person not by the verbal responses, but looking at them, the voice, the tone of their speech on a telephone, or looking at the body language and how they said the word. Because they said that 93% of a face-to-face communication is conveyed by means other than verbal communication. So words carry only 7%. That's why when you call up somebody and ask you, so how are you? And the person says, I'm fine. You didn't see the person, but from the tone of the voice, you understand just the opposite as the person says, because the words here were not congruent with the tone of voice or the expressions therein. The fourth important skill for everyone for personal success is social skills. Social skills is to understand the society. We live in a society. We are not ready to expose our emotions at any time and every time. We need to self-control and understand people, recognize people, communicate with them with respect, especially in public. And social skills also speaks about the importance of resolving the conflict, being self-critical, being less judgmental, looking at people not by their looks, not by their dress sometimes, but to go beyond that to understand that we don't overthink or overjudge people just by the looks or the initial appearance. Although I agree that we often say that the first impression is the best impression. The apparel often proclaims the man that's there, but then still we realize that we are not making anything by creating a negative approach of a person by looking at the person just by the appearance. Okay, so you cannot live a positive life with a negative mind. So remember, positive life is a state of mind, and we cannot live in this life with a negative mind if you need to have it. Now, again, when you talk about this positivity, remember that emotions lead to thoughts, and thoughts will lead to behavior, and behavior eventually leads to performance outcomes, and whatever the outcomes of everything that we do, whether we are in the school or in the college or at work. Try to understand, what are my thoughts, what are my emotions? Now, if I have a negative thought, what is guiding, what is leading me to, what triggers that particular negative thought? That I need to control my emotions, because it's going to affect my behavior towards myself, my approach, and it will definitely have a repercussion. The implications of this approach will have it on negative, the outcomes, negative or positive. There was a test conducted by Walter Mischel. So I don't want to tell me, if you want to have, not just have it later on, Walter Mischel in 1960s have conducted an experiment on 4-year-old kids. And after the 4-year-old kids were given one marshmallow, they were asked to wait for 20 minutes. Those who couldn't wait for it, and those children who couldn't wait for the marshmallow, they immediately grabbed the marshmallow and ate the marshmallow. Some of the children, they waited for 20 minutes waiting for the second marshmallow. 15 to 20 years later, Walter Mischel followed these children and found that those who have waited, those who have delayed the self-gratification, they were found to be highly successful than those who had not waited. So there are several tests conducted repeatedly, which all prove to be the same. So self-gratification is something that we need to take control of, especially today's generation, young children. I'm talking to you particularly. You have the gadgets around us, you have the PlayStations and the gaming controls. We expect change very fast. We expect things to happen immediately. The self-gratification desire may not always be positive in our personal life. So take care of these elements. Okay, let me just talk to you for 2 minutes. If you can see this image very quickly.
Okay, so here's the deal. There's a marshmallow. You can either wait, and I'll bring you back another one, so you can have 2, or you can eat it now. So you can eat it now, or you can wait, and I'll bring you back 2. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, so I have this marshmallow, and you can eat it now, or if you wait a little bit, I'll bring back 2 for you to eat, okay? How you doing, Sam? Good. You can eat it. You can eat them now.
So this was a result of the experiment, as you can see that. Now, attitude is a little thing that makes a big difference in every one of us. And I would like to share with you this common story about the tiny frogs. I think some of you might have heard these tiny frogs have arranged a running competition. So the running competition is that these people have to run and reach the top of a very high signal tower. So naturally, a huge crowd was gathered around this, and the race began. And no one in the crowd literally believed that the tiny frogs would reach the top of the tower. And you heard the statements that saying, oh, way too high, or not a chance that they will succeed. The tower is too high. So all sort of things, and the negative and this negative thoughts. Hearing this, tiny frogs began collapsing one by one, except for those in a fresh tempos, those have the stamina, some kind of, they might have climbed higher and higher. So the crowd continued to yell the negative comments continuously, and many tiny frogs got tired and gave up at the end, but one continued higher and higher. So this one wouldn't stop. So no one knows why this tiny frog is climbing higher and higher. So at the end, everyone else had given up the climb in the tower, except for the tiny ones who have given a big effort. There was only one who reached the top of it. Then every tiny frogs and everybody wanted to naturally know, how did he manage to do that? And a contestant asked this tiny frog, the one who succeeded, how did he get the strength to reach the top of the tower? And it turned out that this winner was deaf. So this speaks about the wisdom of the story is never listen to other people's tendencies to be negative or pessimistic in our life, because sometimes they take out the most wonderful wishes and the dreams away from you, the ones that you have in your heart. Always think about the positive things and think about the positive. And above all, be deaf when people tell you negative things that you cannot achieve your goals. Always think positivity, because emotions are contagious. People gravitate towards positivity, whether it is at work or at the school or in your college or at your home. People gravitate towards positivity. That optimistic approach is something which people are gravitating towards to. If you have a friend who is always negative, pessimistic, definitely this is going to affect your general outcome, your general overview of life altogether. Now, this is a small experiment conducted, not an experiment, I would say. This is a small demonstration of how important knowledge, skills, and attitude at work. So let me share this video quickly to you.
There are three things in life that makes the person successful. One is the knowledge the person has, the skills he develops, and the attitude he has. It can be demonstrated by a very simple experiment of balancing the two heavy stainless steel forks on the edge of the glass. One fork represents the knowledge the person has. The another represents the skill a person needs to possess. And then knowledge and skills are individual to the person. They live with him and die with him. It cannot be passed on. But they can be connected to the society or the organization through another agency called as the toothpick. If you can see, the forks are hanging free on the edge of the glass with a toothpick. If you see, 3/4 of the toothpick is outside the glass, a small portion is inside the glass. Now what should happen if I burn the toothpick from inside? Watch carefully. I start burning this toothpick. What normally people expect is, as the toothpick burns, the wood burns and the whole fork should fall down. It would not happen. I can take another matchstick. I'll try to burn it. The inside of the toothpick. Not two. Even if you take 20 matchsticks, it will not burn beyond that. If you observe carefully, the toothpick is balancing on the edge of the glass, which is not even 1 millimeter thick. Two heavy forks are balancing on that. This is most important to us. Your knowledge and skills are important. But what is most important is the attitude which connects you to society and the organization. Among the three things that I have, glass, fork and toothpick. Toothpick is fragile, it can be burnt. That means in your life, your attitude is more tested than your knowledge and skills. If your attitude is firm, in spite of being burned several times, it will not drop your knowledge and skills. Please watch carefully. I slowly lift the glass up now. You can see. Still knowledge and skills are held together by the attitude. Now I push the attitude out. When I push the attitude out, the knowledge and skills also fall down. Therefore, the most important aspect in life for success is not the knowledge, not just the skills. It is the attitude a person carries. Ultimately, that holds him in difficult times and make him successful in good times.
Okay, so that speaks about the importance of attitude. The two forks are connected with a tiny toothpick. In our life, our attitude is tested often. The knowledge and skills are of no value if our attitude is not the appropriate one, because we don't serve anything for the society with a negative or a bad attitude. Whereas skills and abilities are important, the things that you learn, you have the talent, it's important, it's good. But then if you don't serve the people that you need to, then what's the purpose of having this? So the right attitude is an important element of success. This again takes me to Stephen Covey. I think you might have heard, one of the previous management gurus. He's no more, but his 90-10 principle, again through a story, is very, very useful to drive home the idea, I believe. It will change perhaps your life, or the way in which you look at the situations. Okay, so 90-10 principle speaks in this way. You're having breakfast. This speaks about the father who is having breakfast with the family. The daughter knocks over a cup of coffee onto the business shirt, and you have no control over what has just happened, but what happens next will determine how you react to the situation and the aspects thereafter. You curse, you harshly scold your daughter for knocking the cup over. She breaks down into tears. After scolding her, you turn to your wife and you criticize her for placing the cup too close to the edge of the table. A short verbal battle follows. You storm upstairs and change your shirt. Back downstairs, you find your daughter has been too busy crying and to finish her breakfast, and she's getting ready to go to school. But she misses the bus because of all this drama that's happened here. Your spouse, your wife also must leave for work immediately. You rush to the car and drive your daughter to school. And because you're late, you're driving at 100 miles per hour in a 70 mile speed limit zone. And what happens naturally after 15 minutes delay and throwing $20 fine, you arrive at your daughter's school and your daughter runs to the building without saying a goodbye. And after arriving at the office, 20 minutes late, you realize you forgot your briefcase. So you can see that things in this situation happen, and then it continues to happen. Even when you reach home towards the end, you find a small wedge in your relationship with your wife and daughter. So why did this happen? Why did this all happen? Because how you reacted in the morning. Why did you have a bad day? In fact, is it the coffee caused it? Or did your daughter cause it? Did the policeman cause it, or did you cause it? The right answer is D. You caused it, because there are situations in life that we have no control over it. Your school bus will arrive late. The flight will be delayed. There is traffic jam on the way. Somebody behaved you badly at work or in the school. But it all depends on the 10% of the things we have no control at all. The 90% of our life, what is remaining, that is determined by how we react to the situation. That's what this story tells about by Stephen Covey. So, okay, here it could have happened, and he could have said to the daughter, "It's okay, honey, just be careful." And you grab the towel, go upstairs, change the shirt, and come back, and you see your daughter getting off to the bus. So notice the difference there in the same situation. So two different scenarios, but both started the same, both ended differently because of our reaction. So remember, we have no control over the 10% of what happens in our life. Okay, the 90% of the things that happen in our life is determined by our emotions, our reactions. Winston Churchill, okay, said this classic remark, and I liked it so much. You will never reach your destination if you stop and throw stones at every dog that barks. People will talk back, talk negative things about you, but to respond to every person, every situation that you come across, it's worthless. Sometimes you have to throw little battles to win a war. You might have heard it. The lion doesn't turn around when the small dogs bark. There's an African proverb. So decide whether you need to respond to the situation or let go, ignore these things by yourself. Now, look at these. Look at these brands which are world famous. Okay, the Volvo, when it speaks about Volvo, it talks about safety, Mercedes-Benz speaks about luxury. You talk about iPhone, reliability, or Samsung. You like it because of its reliability. Okay. And Red Bull, always should look, imagine the word Red Bull, imagine the image that comes to your mind. It's adventure, it's sports, it's adrenaline, it's a courage, it's the daring of the things. That's what it is. The FedEx, it trust Swiss watches for precision. Okay, Swiss watches. That's what they say, all those jewels. It refers to precision by itself. Remember, we are like a brand in our life. If you were a brand, what would you be known for? If you are a person, what would you be known for among your circles? We may not be realizing, because look at your schools. You all have an impression about every individual in the class based on their behavior, based on how respectful they were, based on some overall quality of the person. It is not necessarily the intelligence quotient that you are admiring at. It is something else. Even if you look at the workplace, okay, believe me, children, it's not that the most successful, the top rankers and the rank holders, they need not be necessarily the smartest at work. That depends on the emotional intelligence, or otherwise they call it as the EQ, emotional quotient, not just the IQ alone. So developing a positive attitude is an element that will definitely required for your personal success. Positivity is a very important soft skill. People normally gravitate towards positive attitude. If somebody is grumpy, always complaining, do you like to spend the time with that person? You tend to be away with the person, whether at school, whether in your workplace. You always tend to be, always, he has some complaints, some issues with something or the other. And looking at negative aspects of life, it doesn't mean that we always have a bright and sunny face always. We go through motions. Yes, that's a part of life, but there is an appropriate moment, an appropriate duration to express our emotions. When you talk about emotional intelligence, it speaks about reactions or responses appropriate to the environment. It doesn't mean that the person is always cool and doesn't get angry. That is not the meaning. But remember that people are attracted towards positive attitude, and people repel normally from those that are having negative, pessimistic approach. When you choose to have a positive attitude, the mind listens to you. So that's called, the positive self-talk. Speak something positively to yourself, and that your mind listens, and good things do happen to you. Practice that positivity in your self-talk, like, I can do that. Things are going to be fine. We had a very, very testing time of 2020. Now, if you approach the new year with the same, negative aspects, always think about it's going to be fine. It's going to be different in the future. When you're complaining, on the other hand, we are spreading negative energy. Instead, speak positivity. Compliment people. Look at the brighter side of things. Talk people about their positives. When you meet people, when you greet people, when you comment, even on Instagram or wherever it is, comment on their positivity and not on the negativity. Spread that positive energy. People would love to be with you, not away from you. Okay, so positive attitude will help you towards your personal success. Studies show that positive people will live longer also. So if you wish to live longer, definitely positivity is an important element. Laugh, it's an old proverb, and the world laughs with you. Cry, and you cry alone. So it speaks about those who cry always. It's not that we don't empathize with the person, but here the crying means a person who is always complaining, always griping about things. People will definitely have a different attitude towards these people. Now, towards the end of it, let me give you how can you, believe in positivity, no matter how the situation is. A few tips I would like to share with you. Number one tip, make sure you give thanks each day after waking up. Whether you call it from the religious perspective or a philosophical perspective, or whether you call it as a management philosophy, they all mean the same. Make sure, be grateful for the positivity. Make sure for 2020, we had a testing time. Imagine in this 2021, we are alive, we are breathing. There were people, okay, even the millionaires, last year we could see that we have got lots of stories. They had millions in their bank account, but they gasped for their breath. They gasped for even a ventilator. Sometimes you had lots of money in your bank account. So make sure that the people that you have with you, your family, your close friends, be grateful for what is positivity. When you're grateful, that creates a more positive energy within you. Number two, forgive people who hurt you in the past. Now it's very easy to say then do it, but remember, forgiving is actually telling the person and then letting the things go. It'll create mental happiness. Train the positivity, train to forgive people. Train yourself, not training others. Train yourself to forgive people. Train yourself to let go things, because it's for your own benefit, for your own peace of mind. Because if you think about the past, you can't change it. You only worry people, and you have the same attitude and approach towards people. It'll create more of negativity within you. Stop jumping into conclusions, especially to negative outcomes. Even if a challenge that happens in front of you, do not think about what would happen wrong if I think about positivity. Yeah, there is a challenge. There can be a chance of a negative situation and a negative repercussion in the situation. But how can I think about positivity? If I do that, if I go to the exam, if I get this, what will I achieve? So think about, okay, already you're going to achieve. That is a positivity, not jumping into conclusions of looking at people or the situation. Stop worrying so much about what other people think about. We all looking at, okay, what will she think about it? What will he think about me? That's not there. It is your life. Take control of your life. When you're sure, when you listen to your mind, sometimes it speaks very clearly. Your mind is the best trainer for you. Listen to your mind. What is that your mind says? Your ethical conscious says that, no, this is right, this is wrong. Listen to that, not for the people around you. Maybe the whole people around you may be wrong, but you feel that this is the right thing to do. That's what the ethical element of life is. Identify your most common negative thoughts. What are these thoughts? How does it emerge to me? And you have to literally say a stop. Psychological tips say that when you have negative thoughts, you have to literally speak to people to stop. And it's like flexing a muscle. When you go to gym or when you work out, you're developing a muscle. You develop biceps or triceps. It is similar to that. We are giving an exercise for our brain, for mind to think positively in any situation. Accept when things aren't perfect. Not everything happens as we desire. Our dreams are there, but reality may be different. That's okay. That's a realistic approach, but not saying negatively that, I'm always a failure. Whenever I go to exam, I forget things. I'm going to fail this test. If you talk negatively, your body listens to it. Your body is listening to it, and the chemical reactions in your body gravitate towards what you say. So always accept things. Everybody is not going to love us in their life. Everybody may not like us. It's okay, because some people don't like us, some people don't love us. But there are people, there are other things. There's no dead end. There are only U-turns. There's not the end of the road. There are only diversions, and to reach, there's a different way to success. The path to success is determined by you, not by anybody else. Okay, further thing, mix with positive people. Another important thing, in your workplace, in your home, make sure you mix with positive people. Your friends group are always positive within you. So make sure those friends with you, who are with you, speak positively. Look at the optimistic things about the future. Rethink your challenges. As it was mentioned a little while ago, there are no dead ends. There are lots of diversions, lots of opportunities for change, and accept change as they come. Practice self-care and compassion. Sometimes we are our own worst critics. Try to avoid that. Practice self-care. Think about yourself. Think about your well-being, your mind and the body, because you need positivity in you. Be away from somebody who speaks negatively towards it. Even if you can't stop listening to it, just listen with one ear, can leave it through the other ear. That is how they look at life. That's it. And you strongly believe that you are not a person. You are your best judge. Live in the present. Even if you enjoy a small meal, do not worry about the past, or do not worry about the future, or regret the past. Enjoy the moment, whether you're eating, whether you're driving a car, whether you work, whether you play, whether you have shower. Think about what's happening at the moment, and be in the moment. Enjoy the little things in life. When you watch a movie, enjoy that movie. When you listen to a song, uh, enjoy that song. Don't worry about these things. These are the things. So live in the present. There are things to be taken care of. There's a time for it, not always thinking about it. Now, this is what I heard, DTM Srikumar Pai was telling this. This is a famous, Zig Ziglar quote. Zig Ziglar is an American motivational guru. Your attitude, not your aptitude, will determine your altitude. So it all depends upon how you look at life. How you look at life, your attitude will certainly make sure where you reach in your life. And young minds, train yourself for positivity, for positive energy. Seek people with positivity. Try to find friends who are positive, who are successful. Try to look at lots of motivational videos. There are plenty available. Unlike when we were students at your age, we never even had Google. So you have got everything, or YouTube, you've got everything to take the lessons from. The whole world is at your fingertips. It all depends upon how you make use of the time. Okay, all the successful people around the world, they have not a single second more than you and me. They all have 24 hours a day. It all depends on how you make, how you utilize how we utilize the time, the seconds that we. Is it for worthy things? Is it for unnecessary, maybe conversations? Social media is a gift, but make sure that there's a time for everything. When you study, make sure that your mobile phone is physically, literally away from you. Excuse me. So towards the end, this is what the cartoon says. One person asks, why are you so happy? I have no idea. Okay, you don't need to have a reason to be happy, because you choose to be happy no matter how the situation is. Thank you once again for Gavel Club.
Do you have any questions? Participant, you can have any question, you can ask to Dr. Mathew. He is ready to answer your questions.